everything that we've set out to find, I believe, is sitting right here next to me today. And with that, again, I'd like to introduce Dwayne Casey as the next head coach of the Raptors. Thank
you. Welcome, everyone, to this special edition of Raptors Today. I'm Matt Devlin, joined by President and General Manager Bryan Colangelo. Great to see you.
Great to see you, too.
All right, so why Dwayne Casey?
Well, you know, you look at the field of coaches, and there was quite a few candidates out there. Between a list that I normally keep throughout the course of doing normal business to the names that came forward once a decision was made on our coaching vacancy, there was a number of candidates that came forward, that some with great experience, some with limited experience, some with none at all. But, you know, hundreds of names literally are coming at you, whether it's talking to agents or talking to people individually that have contacted you. Probably gave about 10 or so phone interviews to determine whether or not there was a reason to move forward with that next step. It became very clear after a couple of conversations with Dwayne and with Lawrence Frank that we narrowed it down to two to bring the process a little bit more formal, bring them up to Toronto, sit down, put them in a conference room, talk about the game, talk about philosophy, talk about coaching style, and the number of things come forward in that process. They leave, and then you follow up with the due diligence. There's a lot of people you seek opinion from, players, former players, agents for former players, other coaches that have coached with those individuals. It just became very clear that Dwayne Casey was the right guy for this job. He's got the history in the game. He's got the experience as a coach, whether it was an assistant coach, associate head coach, and head coaching experience. Most recently coming off the heels of an NBA championship with the reputation of being the chief defensive architect. That's something we set out to accomplish, addressing the defensive deficiency that we have. Dwayne was the right guy, and I think he's going to connect well with this group of young players that we have. I think he's got the right demeanor. He's a class guy. He's the right guy for this job.
You know, you talk about being the right guy for this job. When you set out to find a new coach, one of the things that you came out publicly and said, I want experience and I want somebody with a defensive acumen, and that's certainly something that Dwayne Casey has. When you speak about him from a defensive standpoint, what are some of the things in your conversations with Casey that stood out when you met with him?
Well, it's interesting. You look at the Dallas defense this past year, and how they were able to stop, very talented offensive players. LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, all in that situation. But before that, the Lakers, etc. You're looking at a guy that had to develop a scheme or design a defense around their own personnel, not to mention the personnel that's coming at them. They've got arguably a slow-footed, non-defensive player in Dirk Nowitzki. I'm not saying that that's Andrea Bargnani, but it's an offensive-minded guy that hasn't had a great reputation defensively, a guy that doesn't rebound the ball real well. I think there's a connection there. There's a story there that Dwayne can share an experience with him. And again, we're all about trying to make our players better, but in particular, we've talked about Andrea in those areas where he's got to do better if he wants to become an elite player. You look at, the aging point guard scenario. Jason Kidd is not moving like he was when I had him back in Phoenix or when he first came into the league in his first stint with Dallas. But, to design a defense around, some glaring deficiencies defensively, there are some analogies there. I think that's a unique part of the ability for Dwayne to develop and design a defense. Again, design it around the personnel, and some of the personnel is the issue, some of it's coaching, some of it's approach, some of it's emphasis. Those are all things that we're going to be talking about and addressing, but the good news is you've got a guy with a defensive mindset. He's going to be talking and drilling every day the word defense, and it's going to be a little bit of a shift culturally. Again, I love the fact that he's talking about flow offense, getting opportunity baskets. Defense creates opportunity baskets. So it's securing the rebound. It's stopping your opponent, securing the rebound, getting the ball down the floor, and looking for easy opportunities to score. I'm excited to see how it all plays out.
You know, one of the interesting things with Dwayne Casey, not only in knowing him through the years, but talking to those around him, is his ability to connect with players. And that's how you get guys on your team to buy in and play hard. And he has that unique ability. You have to have guys, and he spoke to this, effort one, scheme two.
Absolutely, but getting guys to display that effort and carry that out every day is really, it's an art, and you've got to put certain standards in place, expectations. You got to let them know that these are the expectations, and you don't have to do it with a hammer every day. There's some guys that need to be pushed more than others, but some guys need to be cajoled. Some guys need to be manipulated, if you will. But the fact of the matter is coaching is part X's and O's. It's mostly people management these days, and it's about getting people motivated to do what they need to do. He said it best. I control the minutes. I am the guy that ultimately has to make those decisions, and I'll play the guys that follow through with the effort, with the energy, and with the intensity.
Thank you for your time, as always.
Good to see you.
All right, great to see you. When we return here on Raptors Today, we'll sit down with the new head coach of the Toronto Raptors, Dwayne Casey.